So this is our game, the Great Emu War. Me and Patrick just did our setup. It's not too complicated. So I'm playing the military player, and I've got two different types of guys. I've got my little military gunners with the black triangles, and I've got a cameraman with this gray icon. And then Patrick set up his 10 emus, which are represented by these white pyramids on our little board. So essentially, we're going to be fighting over the land of Australia. Patrick is trying to destroy a bunch of farms, eat a lot of food, and grow his population, while also destroying my morale and causing secession, where I'm trying to kill all the birds and gain some morale back. And we'll explain some special rules as we go on, but I think we can just go into it and explain as we go, right?
Yeah. So first starting thing, the emus are allowed to move up to 3 spaces, and that's for every emu on the board. So to start, we have 3 starting spaces. You can divide up your emus however you want to on those 3, although you can have only a maximum of 5 per space. So for start, I'm going to move these 5 to farm 2, and these 5 to farm 1.
Now every time an emu moves onto a farm, after all the movement is done, the farmers on the farm get a chance to react. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll this d6. If I roll a 1 through 3, nothing happens. If I roll a 4 or a 5, I scare off half. And if I roll a 6, like I just did, I get to scare off all the emus of one tile off, and that prevents them from eating any crops that turn. And then I'll roll for farm 1. I roll a 2, so none of them get scared off. Let me fix the counters, and I'll avoid doing that in the future.
So now, because I have all 5 of my emus on farm 1, I will eat 5 crops, so I'll move the farm 1 counter up 5 spaces. Because it's 5, I will now tick the morale counter down. I will gain 1 emu population. I will put it to a adjacent spot of my choosing.
This is a constant for every farm. Every farm has 15 crops, and every 5 crops that are eaten on a farm, the Australian military loses 1 point of morale, and the emus gain 1 population. So this can happen 3 times per farm.
Now, an additional thing to note is when an emu enters a farm space, they can't move from the farm space unless they're scared off in some capacity or the farm's wiped out.
And I'll go on to my turn now. So as a military player, I have 2 movement per piece. So for the first few turns, I'm not really going to be able to do anything too monumental. I'm just trying to play catch up, which is kind of part of the design of the game. The emus are going to get an early lead, and I'm going to be trying to exterminate them well on the back foot at the start. So now we move on to turn 2, and Patrick can go ahead.
I am going to start to move this sole emu 3 towards farm 6. I will move these 5 emu back onto farm 2.
Great. We'll roll for farm 1 first. 4, so I get to scare off half of them rounding down.
I believe it's rounding up.
Do you see it? Farms, occupation. Or no, it would be farmer reaction. Rounding up, yeah. So I get to scare off 3 of the 5 to this tile right here. The other 2 remain. And then I'll roll for farm 2. I roll another 6. So I scare off all the emus again. Farm 2 is well protected. And then at the end of the turn, the emus eat 2 crops off farm 1. Alright. Then it goes back to my turn, and I again just meander slowly towards him. On to turn 3.
Once again, I'm going to move my 5 emu back onto farm 2. And I'm going to move the 3 that got scared off towards farm 6. 1, 2, 3. Good, and I'll move that one onto farm 6.
I'll roll for 1 first. Nothing happens on farm 1. Farm 2. I get a 5, so 3 of them get scared off. And farm 6. I roll 6, so it gets scared off. I go over here. So that takes 2 off 1, 2 off 2?
Yep.
Great. Cool. Then we're on to my turn. And now I actually have a choice. So this cameraman here, we haven't really talked about him yet, but these military gunners, they're pretty basic units. They're just going to go try to shoot the emus. The cameraman is kind of a propaganda tool. He's going to stand by my gunners and try to capture nice action footage of me killing the emus, and that'll give me extra morale because I can make propaganda films out of that. So I have to choose which gunner I want to send them with because I'm splitting up my gunners now, and I'm sending them down to farm 2 right here. Go ahead.
Let's see. I'm going to move these 3 on farm 6. Those 2 are going to stay there, those 2 are going to stay there. And for the hell of it, I'll move these 3 back on farm 2. Try to back up.
Just gonna move that one in the corner up too.
Yeah, I'll move that one on to farm 6 as well.
I'll do farm 1 to start. 4, so 1 gets scared off over here. 2.
You could have scared that towards yourself.
I could have scared that towards myself.
Oh.
I'll do it later, it's okay.
Yeah.
These 3 get scared over here, and for farm 6, nothing happens. Okay, my turn. After the crops, sorry. My
Yeah,
bad.
so farm 1, 1 more, so I gain another, morale goes down, I gain another emo.
And farm 6 gets 4.
You move the other county?
Yeah.
Alright.
Alright, now it's on to my turn, and I finally get some action. So, I'm going to first do all my movement before I resolve any conflict. So I start off, I'm going to put my gunner on this farm, which means it's going to trigger a military conflict with these emus. And I'm going to place my cameraman in an adjacent space so he can get those action shots from a great angle. And then I'm going to move my other gunner on this farm to engage in conflict with these emus. So now after my movement is all done, I'm going to start on farm 1 and roll for combat. So if I roll a 1 or a 2, I get unlucky, I don't kill anything. If I roll a 3 through a 5, I kill an emu. And if I roll a 6, like I did again, I get to kill this emu and I get to make a little hat out of him. Which this is something that the Australian military actually tried to do during the Emu War. Again, for terms of morale boosting, they tried to make little hats out of the emus they killed. You know, it's kind of a show of strength. So, for killing the emu, I get 1 point of morale, and for making the hat, I get an extra point. So back up to even. Now I'm going to resolve this other military conflict. I roll for it, and I roll a 5. So I kill 1 emu, and because the cameraman is watching, I get an extra point of morale, so I get another 2 points for this encounter. Now, after this encounter is over, there are still emus on this space where I attacked, and since I just shot one of their friends, they're going to run away. But they don't really have control over it, so I get to choose to move them away 3 spaces in a direction of my choosing. So I'm going to put them over here, kind of in the corner of the board, and if they want to go to a farm, they have to go to a farm that I'm kind of controlling right now. So, good luck.
Alright, so the 3 by farm 2, I am going to make them move towards farm 3. Back this one up. These 2, move them towards farm 5. This one will also move towards farm 5.
Okay. So you just got the one with farm 6?
I believe was all 4 of them?
Yeah, all 4 are there. I roll a 2, so nothing happens. Farm 6 loses 4 food.
Because
and
I crossed over the 5 crop threshold, I gain another emu, and they lose a morale.
Yep. Alright. On to me. You stayed within my sight, so I'll move this guy right here onto this group of emus. I'll move this guy onto this group of emus with the cameraman watching from right behind. So I'll first trigger that military encounter. I roll a 5, so I kill 1 emu. Get a point for that. And the other emu gets scared off in the direction of my choosing. I'm going to send him back to the start. And then for this encounter, I'll roll. You're not getting lucky today.
No.
That's another
Not at
6. So I kill 1, that's 1 point, make a hat, that's a 2nd point, and the cameraman is watching. So I get 3 points from that encounter. And the other 2 are going to get scared off. I'll move them to the edge of the board. Alright. Alright, you.
I'm gonna move these 2 guys.
Yeah, sorry, these 2 are here.
Those to that space. These are already here. I'm gonna move these guys to this space.
Alright. We'll start with farm 1. That'll scare off 1 of them over here. Then I'll go to farm 6. That'll scare off none.
Oh, wait.
5.
5,
Yeah.
yeah.
Alright, but that crosses another threshold, so he gains another morale point and gains another emu adjacent. So even though I'm doing a really good job taking care of those 2 groups of emus down on the bottom of the board, he's still got 1 group at the top of the board that's kind of wreaking havoc. That farm's about to be destroyed, so I am by no means over with this game. Alright. So, I'll start moving this direction with these guys and circle back to try to get this one over here. I don't kill it, unfortunate, but I get to still move it away. 1, 2, and 3. This corner piece counts as a tile. And up to you. So one thing you guys probably haven't been able to see too clearly is this turn counter. You can go, I'm just going to explain as we go. We have a turn counter that goes up to 15. A lot of the times in our playtest, we get kind of a tug-of-war with the morale counter, so that it's really hard for one of the teams to win just their morale. So we have this turn counter. At the end of 15 turns, whoever has more morale is going to be declared the victor if no other victory conditions are satisfied by them. And the other victory condition is that each team has a domination condition. If the emus are able to successfully completely destroy 5 of the farms on the map, they win automatically regardless of morale. And if the military is able to successfully kill all the emus, they win regardless of morale. Neither of those things have ever happened in a playtest, but they're possible. So,
Did you do this farm too?
I did not, thank you. Alright, nothing happens.
Right.
So, Farm 6 loses 2 crops, and that is its 15th crop eaten. So Farm 6 is going to be completely destroyed. His emus can now move off of it, and he gains 2 morale points for that. 1 for the usual 5, and another 1 for completely destroying it.
What was that? Farm 5.
Great. Okay. I gotta do some catching up. I'll move here, and then 2. Yeah, okay. So I'll roll for that encounter. And 6, dead in a hat. This is the most 6s we've ever rolled. Alright, 1, 2. Go ahead.
Alright. Now, because Farm 6 is wiped out, I can move my pieces away from Farm 6. Well, for starters, I'm going to move these back onto Farm 7. You put me in a bad spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, just for the sake of it, I will move these back onto, was that Farm 5? Move these 3 there. And I'll start moving these to 2.
So a big part of this game, at least from the military's perspective, is kind of just like playing whack-a-mole, because there are always going to be too many groups of emus for me to tackle all of them successfully. So I just have to kind of run around and see which ones are the most effective for me to tackle, and farms aren't doing any work this turn.
Oh, no, not at all. What was that? Farm
That's
7.
Farm 7 loses 2, and I think that's Farm 5 loses 4, which point in the population. Okay, cool. So then I'll keep rolling here. Put this guy here. Cameraman stays there just to watch it. And oh, can I do the strategy? I can do it. Okay. And I'll put my other gunner here. So I'm going to first resolve this military encounter. I roll a 3, so I'm able to kill 1 of them. And that gives me a point and a second point because the cameraman is watching. And now the fun little strategy you can do is I'm able to corral the emus in a straight line 3 spaces away, which means I can push them right into my other gunner. And this will trigger another military encounter. Now, you can't do this infinitely looping. Each gunner can only have 1 military encounter per turn, so I can't just go ping-pong them back and forth and gain infinitely many points from killing infinitely many emus. But I can get a neat little combo. Kill 2 emus in the 1 turn, and send these guys packing all the way back. Alright. Yeah.
Alright. Let's see here. I'm going to move these guys to Farm 1. I'm going to move. What space was that?
These guys were right here, yeah.
Right here. gonna move back this way.
Okay.
Those guys are gonna
Don't
stay
forget about your
there.
guy in the corner.
Yeah, we'll move him up to join the clan.
Great. So we'll roll for farm 1. Nothing happens. Farm 7. They're all gone. Okay. Farm 1 loses 4 crops, which destroys it. So Patrick gets 2 more morale points and an emu. And his guys can now leave. Alright. Running low on time, so I can do this last turn, then we can pack it up. Alright, so I move this guy here to trigger combat, and the problem with the emu being faster than me is I can go try to chase him right now, but he's just faster than he's going to run away. And this is why we implemented the rule that emus can't leave farms willingly, because otherwise they would just kite the military to no end. So I'm just going to go preemptively right here, and this will put me within 2 tiles range of both farms, so I can kind of have a hand on both. But first, I'll resolve that military encounter.
Oh,
I thought I
it's
had
like
it.
100.
I rolled a 1. I don't know.
Yeah. We'll count it. It doesn't matter. Alright, so even though I rolled a 1 and I didn't kill anything, I still get to scare them off because the emus are still scared of the big gun firing. So I scare them off 3 spaces. I'll put them just in this tile right here. And yeah, that puts us at turn 10. I have a morale lead of about 4 points, but he does already have 2 farms destroyed, so there's a chance he'll be able to bring it back, destroy enough farms to get a domination victory. I think I'd probably win this game, but you have a possibility, right?
Yeah, that's possible. How many farms did we say you had?
5.
Like that? Okay.
Yeah, it'd be tough.
It would be tough, but
But
it
yeah.
could be possible.
This would continue going for another 5 turns, or until one of us reaches the end of the morale counter, which I could get in this game, we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our game.
Most